and it's just sickening. And it's going to be, on repeat. The deny slavery, indigenous. Uh, if they could sneak climate into it, they might. It's going to be absolutely, it's going to turn our stomachs over, because it's going to be just putrid. It's going to be a massive waste of money. Uh, if it's $1 billion, that's just one day in Iran, the military adventurism. But it's going to be just so gross and over the top and all about licking DJT's boots and other parts of his wardrobe and anatomy that it's going to be painful. But the amount of whitewashing that they're going to do, kind of on par with Project 2025 and every effort that Trump, Ron DeSantis, others are doing to say, you guys, you don't really understand the whole slavery thing. That was tourism, and people just got lost on boats. And I don't know why you're still reminding us of that, because that's kind of unfair and it makes us sad because we're white people in a white country. So why should we be made to feel bad about our whiteness? I don't get it. I don't get it. You're so mean. And we're going to be getting, Jim, um, Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers, a man who wrote magnificently. He also had some problems, and he had some affinities that were not fully known until much long after his presidency by the wider public, and after his wife's passing and Sally Hemings, etc., and the way that was minimized and cleansed, even to the point where the even the truth that was found in some of his original writings was whitewashed before his own words were used on his own monument to make it uh, a little bit less, what is the term? Fucking horrible. Yeah. So that is, we're going to get a lot of that TJ whitewashing coming up towards the summer. It's going to be so busy because Trump's going to be celebrating his birthday. The World Cup's going to be going on. ICE is going to be arresting members of teams from African countries if they even choose to come. I've heard so many people talking about boycotting the World Cup, which I'm in favor of the sentiment. I feel horrible for our countrymen and women, people of good faith, people that have, as we've talked about before, that have planned for this moment in to grow a new business, to make some money, to pay for a few kids' college tuition, pay off their mortgage, because these big events like World Cup don't come around all that often. So I feel bad for our friends and neighbors that were hoping to make a good score, not in the Trump score sense, not in the fraud and the inducement sense, but like hard work, novel ideas, promotion, marketing, and and 25 Airbnbs. People that are going to lose out. It's bad all the way around. It's the bad that we don't even know the extent to which Trump is going to smear his stuff all over the FIFA World Cup, because people at FIFA are only marginally less corrupt than the Trump administration, Trump organization, Trump family. So it's going to be again, along with the whitewashing ahead of the country's birthday, ahead of Trump's birthday, as he tries to steal the glory of the nation that he's working very hard to destroy. Um, it's just it's a wonder to behold, as maybe they say somewhere in houses of worship. The other element that I wrote about, I don't know, feels like a year ago, the Supreme Court. The title of today's episode was "Red Herring in the Potomac," and I'm entirely convinced because of the players involved and the opportunity. If from a cynical perspective, if I were a bad intention Stephen Miller homie, I would be all up and down all over this stuff. You think about two cases in particular: the birthright citizenship case, and also the tariffs that Chief Justice Roberts and his right wing lunatic conservative crew on the court, maybe with Amy Coney Barrett stepping aside, not wanting to dirty her hands that may still be clean, but certainly Alito, Thomas, and the chief, and Kavanaugh, Gorsuch. I'm kind of I'm hopeful in a way. He says, some obsequious behavior towards the president. But what a brilliant mind. Wouldn't it be wonderful if he was like on the side of America? That would be fun. We'll find out. That's early days yet in Supreme Court years. Um, Cat lives and dog years, or whatever that expression is. And yeah, so it's been my contention, as I wrote about earlier last year, is that the chief made a plan. And what his plan was, that because they pick the cases that they want to hear, that they have a couple on kind of in reserve, that they know, the gig is already up on which way they're going to rule, and the ones that are going, that one would think would potentially anger Donald J. Trump because he doesn't get everything he wants all the time. The legal equivalent of you're a spoiled fuck. But think about it this way: what what Roberts cares about, that is he having agina about, giving Trump unlimited power in Trump v. U.S. Um, I don't know. Does he feel that at all? I'm not certain. What I am certain about is if he were to want to do a misdirection, a sort of a red herring in a manner of speaking, then what he could use is the birthright citizenship and the tariffs case and say, you know what? We're all about law and order here on the Supreme Court. We are rule and law central. And I want you to know that these two cases were so important that we knew for America we had to take a stand even against Donald J. Trump and rule against him. You see, that's how we roll here in Supreme Court land. But what do they really care about? Dobbs. They eviscerated Roe v. Wade, which was a life goal for the extreme right conservative folks, their base, their donors, the fat fucks that fly Clarence Thomas all over, and he didn't get shot on a hunting trip yet, so that's he didn't get Cheneyed. So that's I guess that's a plus, is it? And we know also, in working in the background, is that Alito and Thomas are likely to be announcing their retirement in in about 10 or 15 minutes or soon. So what are we going to give them as a going away present? Like as a, what is their gold watch? They eviscerated Roe, which was that was the conservative North Star. What could they do with, oh, I don't know, how about Calais? Could they absolutely kneecap and then further handicap and then drowned the last remnants of the Voting Rights Act? Because we're so post-racial, obviously. I mean, just look around. Look at the news. Look at ICE. Look at Trump. Look at the way that black and brown people are being treated in our country. Obviously, we're post-racial. We got that all worked out. Supreme Court, yeah, we no, we as Americans we took care of that ourselves. With the help of MAGA aligned individuals and Project 2025. We're all equal, right? Everything's forgiven. We won't let's not refer to it as slavery anymore. Not even indentured servitude. Let's just call it labor. Okay? Is that okay? Yeah. No, it's not okay. It's my expectation. Is this a little conspiracy theory-ish? Where have you been living for the past 14 months plus whatever, right? We are living in a place in a very dark time where anything is possible. And you haven't even heard the worst shit that I've come up with. But think about how clean this would be. They could just use this in a maximum, exploit this opportunity with Calais, this Louisiana case, and really just scrub out the last few protections, which would, well, we're gonna, we'll say not by 26, but by the 28 general, switch a whole bunch of seats to the Republicans. And further, for the rest of time, absent a different ruling in a different case that we just don't have the votes for now, unless we do some creative court re-engineering. This is it, So I don't mean that in the terminal sense, but this midterm is huge. It's consequential. We should do fine. But then all of a sudden, 28 is going to be an even tougher lift, and we don't know all the things that are going to happen between now and then. Will Trump have been removed? Will he have been? Will Trump have moved out, and will Vladimir Putin be living in the White House? All these things we don't really know yet. We're not clear. We just have to deal with what's in front of us. But this, the Calais ruling could really give them. Think about Alito and Thomas riding out of town. I'm trying to figure out where the sun is to see if that's blowing up the screen, but I'll just keep it brief and wish you a good day. This is something from a legacy point of view for for Roberts, Alito. Roberts isn't going anywhere. Alito and Thomas to be responsible for kicking out the final leg on the stool for the VRA. That would be wet dream category. That would be a category 5 wet dream. The Ginny Thomas would be flying flags upside down. Sam Alito's wife would be flying flags upside down. There would be good people on both sides marching in the streets with Proud Boys and all sorts of Christian flags and Christian soldiers and in white hoods. It would be a major victory for them, and this would be an easy way to do it, and preserving the appearance for John Roberts that he's still concerned about the legacy of the court itself by giving us the rulings on the tariffs and on the birthright citizenship. But you know, those are two cases that should be 9-0 decisions in a real world. But could he say utilize? You could say weaponize those two cases to capture public sentiment and thereby soften the blow when the Calais ruling comes along. I see it. I'm going to do a lot more with the Jefferson, with Thomas Jefferson's family, and very soon. Maybe this is a two-parter, maybe tomorrow, because if you, as you probably know, but that the same man that fathered Thomas Jefferson's wife also fathered Sally Hemings. Right? And there are all sorts, I mean, that's one example of human behavior so reprehensible that it's hard to even fathom, except if you're alive in the Trump era and you're watching Stephen Miller and what goes on in Texas, Florida, and other places. Then it's easier to fathom because you see the essence of it coming back at us on a lot of different levels every single day, which is regrettable, but we're in the fight. Wishing you all a good day, and thank you for your time. If I didn't F up the contrast on the screen and all sorts of things with the audio, and it's worthy of sharing and or restacking and or getting somebody else to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And yes, no, indifferent, doesn't matter. I'll be back tomorrow, and I won't cry. Um, I won't cry. Celtics playing tonight? No, I won't cry. Wishing you all a good day. Thank you for everything, and have a beautiful day.